It's great to have you, like I said, to part two of Manage and Plan Events with Wrike. I get the pleasure of being your host. My name is Alex Homer, and I'm the Customer Success Strategic Program Lead based for APJ. I've also got Kim Cameron, Senior Professional Services Consultant, who I'll be sure to give a moment to properly introduce themselves. But before I hand it over to the lovely Kim, we wanted to kind of know what we'd hope to get out of the session today. Well, the session today is all about how to set up powerful automations, utilize calendars, and visualize your reports in Wrike. Now, we've also got customers that do this themselves. You might have remembered last time we talked about Goodwood. You might have heard of Goodwood, in fact. They do some pretty amazing stuff. They've got an event that, if you're into motorsports, I'm certainly keen on them. Celine Curry, their event operations manager, said, "Our man hours are more productive because we're not spending time going backwards, searching emails, trying to draw out correct information." The major challenges of going through various spreadsheets and trying to find where the actual correct run sheet is. You can imagine how much of a nightmare that would be if you're trying to run an event with everyone having different plans. So they've shared their project plans. They've got customized filtered views between people, and of course, predefined workflows and dashboards to help them track and monitor where they're at with the event. The results: transparency across departments, streamlined processes for strategic partners, and more effective and a better use of their time. And to that note, Kim, who are you and how did we get there?
Hello, hello. Thank you for that. Yeah, my name's Kim. I am a senior professional services consultant here at Wrike. I've been using Wrike since 2016, specifically for marketing and comms teams, maybe like yours. And I've seen the power that can come through leveraging Wrike in a precise way. And I hope to show you some of that here today with Alex as my co-pilot. So with that, if you don't mind, I can take over your screen share.
Absolutely. And just to let everybody know that this session is, of course, being recorded. And if you have any questions throughout this session, please, we encourage you to put them through in the Q&A section. I will be going through them. And if there's a moment for me to interrupt Kim, because it's a valid question at that moment, I'll certainly be sure to stop her there where I can and ask the right questions. So over to you, Kim. Thank you.
Absolutely, and happy to have you interject at any moment. So let's take a quick recap of where we were with session one. We went and discovered that leadership has asked us to include some reporting inside of our blueprint so that moving forward, we remember to do our postmortems. We went and developed a custom item type. You can see that right here. Custom item types are nice ways for us to gain control over the different actions that we have in here through the use of automations. Additionally, with custom item types, we get a few more things out of the bag. We are able to control the custom fields that are displaying at the top, and we also get to sort and filter by these item types as well. We added this item type to the blueprint, and we kicked off a new example event that you can see listed here. Now, some time has gone by since we kicked this event off that's going to be happening here in early October. And so we've completed some of the activities here inside the project plan. We've had our kickoff based off of some of the statuses and activities here. We're also updating our project status. So you'll notice here that the project goes from being requested to planning. When our event kickoff happens, we also change the status. From there, we go to prep. We check due dates on the event and make sure that we are ready for 2 weeks out. Once the day of the event happens, we also change the status. And of course, post, we go to follow up and then complete once that's all done. So that's high level what this event can go through. And of course, the tasks inside can go through any other number of statuses as well. So that's kind of where we've at. The team's been busy at work and we're doing some things. It looks like they're behind maybe on getting the invite out. You can see that's overdue here. So let's talk a little bit about how we can build an automation and what does that look like, right? So for this account, we have built custom item types at the account level. You can build these also at the space level. If you're a space admin, you can choose the gear icon here and you will see custom item types pop up right there. But for the purposes of this demonstration, our custom item types are at the account level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to come up into, whoops, not that button, Kim. Choose my avatar up here in the upper left-hand corner, go to settings, and then here we can see custom item types is listed on the bottom of the list. If you're not an admin of your account, you won't see this listed over there. So please, if you're following along at home, you can go and do this to your space level custom item types. As a reminder, if you don't have any custom item types built yet, if you don't see the green button that says create, you can look here in the upper left-hand corner and see create custom item type. You can create two, right? Remember, the foundational building blocks of Wrike are tasks and projects, and custom item types are the ability for us to give a new label to these things other than task or project, right? So here we have that there. So here are the ones that we have already established inside of our environment. And the example that I would like to walk this group through is, for example, go to my Leap Blast event. Here, the event has already happened, right? We are past, we are in our post-mortem phase. You can see we are working on collecting feedback here. And the automation that I would like to walk you through is if all of the items inside of my project are completed, please change the status of my event to completed, and then also move it to my completed folder. Okay. I want to take my checklist of things that I'm doing, my active events, and as I complete everything, move them down into the completed folder. I'd like to have that happen automatically because who wants to click more than they have to? So let's build that out together. Switch tabs back here to the event custom item type. You'll notice the icon matches what we saw in the previous screen. Okay. It is a project type custom item type. Say that 10 times fast. As a quick review, we can change the icon, change the name, give ourselves a description if we like. We can make this available to the little drop down where it says plus item to everybody if we want to. We can do whichever workflow status that we would like to apply here. In this case, I'm going to use that event workflow that I just showed you. Sub items list, the ability to put things inside of the event, right? So I do want to have some event dates going off in there, and I want to have some emails and a creative asset, and yeah, I'd like a kickoff meeting and some vendor stuff, and let's just do it all. My event needs all these things, right? So this gives me control and the ability to be very prescriptive about the structure and framework of my projects, right? If I don't want to be able to have a email inside of my event, well, here's how we keep that away. In the
Now,
middle,
Kim,
yes.
if I might interrupt you here, and I'm doing so because there's a person who's joined us who manages their events as part of potentially um, other larger campaigns. And so I think this might be a good opportunity to kind of ask, how would we include an event as part of a larger campaign, maybe? And if that's something that you might be able to lead into, or just to kind of keep that in the back of your mind.
Got it. Let me just make a quick note there.
And I ask that because I see that you've got your event as a custom item type, and I'm wondering, maybe we can touch on it at the end, and I'll interrupt you again a little bit later. Then maybe I should say, sorry, I got a bit excited by the fact that you've got an event type, so my apologies there.
Absolutely. No, it's a good segue, right? We've got listed here in our custom item type for this event, a custom field called campaign name, right? So right away, we are thinking with the items that we're building that they are cross-functional and they are nested and we are moving things around in a modular way. So here we are surfacing right above the fold, the custom fields and data points that are important for the event. So the date, the location, the campaign name, the kind of event that this is, where we're having it, all of our target attendees and requesting department, all of that is right here. And so I will keep your comment in mind as we move into the next couple screens here. Let's get into that automation. So here, you'll notice that I've got a few written, right? And we're going to make a new one. This is our automation interface. First things first, the robot is going to try to predict what it is that we're doing through this process and name it. And we're going to come visit this again once we're finished with the process. So I just want to pin that. So what are we doing? We're applying this rule to an event. Because we entered into this automation window from the event custom item type, Wrike already knows we're doing this to an event. Okay? Next up, the trigger. So what we've told Wrike is we want you to take a look around the system, and anytime you see this event thing and something happens to it, it's the trigger. In this case, we have a lot of automations that you can go and look through after our call and test them out. There are some really, really great things in here, but the one that we're going to focus on right now is direct sub item statuses change to. First one in the list. We have a choice to make. We go back to our event. There's a lot of tasks. There's a lot of item types happening in here. If something happens in here, do we want it to be all of them together or just one of these things? Right? In our case, we want it to be everything, all sub items, not any, right? And then what we're going to say is the trigger is when the status of all of these sub items is completed. And remember, we have status groups. There's 4 of them. This is important specifically for automations, right? You might have several different kinds of completed statuses. You can see here that for our design team, right, they have asset admin completed versus having something just be completed. So in our trigger, we want to make sure that when we cast that net, we want it as wide as possible. So that's why we are using an entire status group. Next up, we are going to jump over the condition right now because it's not required for what we're doing. I'll review it here once we get the action done. So the action is the green box. We're going to do something. So Wrike is scanning the account for event event campaigns, and when it finds one where there's where all of the tasks inside are completed, it's going to say, "All right, well, what would you like me to do?" What we're going to do is we're going to first change the status of that item. This is the parent item. Remember, our event item type is a project. It's a container. It holds things inside of it, right? So what we're going to do is change the status now. Remember, we're using the event workflow status for this campaign, this custom item type, right? So we want to make sure that we use the same one for when we mark it completed as well, just to keep that consistency for reporting. So we've got a really nice solid automation set up here. What's really cool is that we can stack our automations up, right? And so that second step of moving, we do that with another action. So we're going to change location. We have some choices to make. How are we moving this event around? Are we going to just add it, right, through the magic of cross tagging, right? Single source of truth. We can be in more than one place at a time. We can remove it from just one specific location. So if you've ever worked with me, I'll tell you tags are like Beyonce. If you like it, put a tag on it. So we want to maybe just remove one specific tag. Maybe we want to add and remove from one specific place, or maybe we want to strip all of those tags and just move it to a new location, right? So what we're going to choose in this area is add and remove from specific. We want to add this to our completed events folder. We can move it to more than one if we want. And we want to remove it from our active events where it's sitting right now. So let's just go look at the folder structure again to remind ourselves. Our friend here is sitting in the active events. When I change the status for this to completed, I would like this status to change to completed, and I want the whole thing to move to this folder. Okay, that's what this says right here. And you can see the robot came up here and it said some fancy stuff. So what I like to do is generally build in a naming convention so that I know when the automation goes off, what it is that I need to search for, if I need to troubleshoot. And then I also will come in here and add a little bit of detail. Right. Yes, it's Murphy's Law. You can't spell when people are watching you on share screen, but you get the idea, right? I'm not going to hit create on this because I already have this one written. It's down here, right? So it's already there. But you might have been wondering why I chose the number 6. And the reason is because I'm a human being and I think about things sequentially. And I've written 6 automations that kind of carry off one another. So if you remember to the beginning when I walked you through that workflow, right? If we change the status to planning, then let's move it to the active folder. When we have the kickoff sub item changes to the day of the event, then let's change this to pre-kickoff. If the event day sub item changes to on track, let's say we're 2 weeks out. So you can see how as we build up the activities inside of our event plan, we can leverage our automation sequentially to get through the whole project without having to fiddle it with it too much in our own hands. Let's test it. Okay, so here, let me just double check. Yes. So back to the question about if my event is part of a larger campaign. Leap Blast just so happens to be part of our Apollo campaign, which is listed right here. So we have, let me remember where all my stuff is in my demo account. Themes, this is in marketing and comms. Sorry, guys. So in my, here, oh my gosh. I have my campaign somewhere, guys. I'm sorry, I wasn't 100% prepared for that question, but I want to be there. There it is. All right, so we have a campaign. The theme is Apollo, right? And so if within my Apollo campaign or program, I have multiple events and multiple campaigns happening, I want to build into my folder structure a place to leverage that cross tagging so that I can see everything happening in one place and then build different views and calendars and so on and so forth to manage the things that are happening for that particular campaign. So we can see Leap Blast is an event here amongst a few others, along with some marketing campaigns that we have going on as well. So I hope that's a little bit of insight there into how this particular event is supporting a campaign for the larger marketing organization.
Thanks for that, Kim. And I love that Beyonce's put a tag on it there. That's fantastic.
Anything to make you remember, right? But it's true. Like I put tags on everything.
Love it.
So here we are at Leap Blast. We've written an automation and everybody cross your fingers, cross your toes. When I mark this completed. So you'll notice automatically we have a completed status here. We can also see that Leap Blast is no longer in the active events folder and is now listed in the completed events folder. If we were to double check with our, oh gosh, our Apollo thing, wherever it was that I found it, I don't remember, but it would still be in there. It doesn't move around, right? It's still cross-tagged in the place that it needs to be. Let's go back up here. So let's look at the event and see what happened in the stream, right? So this is where we tell people it's really hard to break stuff inside the system because here is my little breadcrumb trail. So I've mentioned followers, my director, my campaign manager, my coordinator that the event has been held, the status has been updated to completed, and we're good to go. Look at that. Everybody knows we're all on the same page. Happy dappy. That's automations. And I'm going to switch gears if there aren't any other questions meanwhile to showing you how this looks inside of a calendar.
No questions at this point, but I'll use it as an opportunity to throw it up into the air for folks to say, hey, if you have any questions, please put them through.
We're going kind of fast. All right, in my example here, I've got a couple layers inside of my calendar. Calendars are monitoring tools that can be found inside of your space using the little plus sign here, and they're listed right there. When you first make a calendar, they're empty and full of promise, and you put layers in so that you can see different things in the ways that you'd like to. Right now, I have selections for the type of event that it is. And I also have layers for the region of the event, right? You may have noticed through me clicking through the folders frantically that I've got regional folders, I've got campaign folders. I also have folders for these types. I also have custom fields that match up to this because I might be wanting to leverage them in a calendar. So let's build a layer together. Let's have it be our completed events because we just went through all of this effort to do reporting and to make sure that they're closed and to make sure that we're managing them properly. Let's also have a view to look at them. So giving my layer a name, completed events, we have a choice to make just like we do pretty much with every monitoring tool. Are we looking at data at the task level or are we looking at data at the project level? I want that task level data. The reason why I want that task level data is because my event date is a task level custom item type. And it is the date of this particular item that I want to be represented on my calendar. So I'm going to go with smart based on tasks. You can do projects and you can do classic, but there's the word manually here, and that just makes me go ew, so I just keep it smart. Next up, we're going to grab our source. All right, so right away, I want to do active events and I want to do completed events. Why? Well, because the event itself might be completed, and that's what I want to see on here, but there might be some follow-up that still needs to happen, and therefore, based off of our automation, it still might be sitting in the active events folder. What's nice about calendar layers is we can aggregate from multiple locations and we can look down inside the folder structure as well. Right-hand side, do we want to see a little bar, right, like this guy down here for just the date? Or if, for example, you're setting up a planning calendar and you want to see the full duration of like when a social banner might be running, that might be a better option for you for a content calendar. In the filtering area, right, again, we've got our custom item type. So if we want to come in and say, I would like to just see the event dates, please. Right, again, we're leveraging the custom item type outside of our project plan and filtering to just that item. I do want to see all of the ones that are completed, right? Because that's the name of our layer. Really creative there, Kim. And I'm just going to leave it at that, right? The more filter requirements and parameters that we put in, the more smaller our results that come back. So let's go ahead and hit save. Boom, look, there are all of our completed events. Now, I'm not a big fan of this color personally, so I'm going to change this over to gray because those are in the past and I kind of want to like indicate that visually against the ones that are upcoming and maybe needing more attention. Additionally, I can reorder this and drop it down to the bottom of the list. That way, when I'm layering and turning certain layers on and off, we can make sure that at least, yeah, there it is. So you can see yes time events can either be blue or orange depending on the layer order and how you select it. So I just put completed at the bottom to make sure that that sticks there. And that, my friends, is the quick version of putting some calendars together based on an event custom item type.
Kim, that's really powerful, and thank you for going through that. Quick question on here, however, what's some of the easiest ways to be able to share this out with people?
Oh, great question. So if you are already in the space, you have access to this. So lucky ducky, right? The next step up is if they're not in the space, but they're you want to share it out with them. We've got the public links here, right? It's nice and big and center. And here, when we set this up, we can give it a name, right? Demo of completed, right? And then what's nice is we can see what that looks like, copy it, and here's a quick reference. So if you're not inside of Wrike, this is what you see. You don't have to have a license. You don't have to know how to use Wrike. It's pretty intuitive. You check the boxes, things turn on and off, right? We can also change our view. If we want to see what's been going on, events that we've had. You can even go out to the year. So if you are a team that has events on a regular cadence or you have seasons where things are really, really heavy, the year view might be really good to help you with resourcing and planning as well. Any other questions before I show you something interesting with Analyze?
All good there. Thanks, Kim.
Sure thing. With regards, just to wrap up the campaign conversation too, you might create a campaign calendar, right? Where each layer is a different component of your campaign, and one of them might be event milestones. You might have social milestones. You might have any kind of thought leadership and things like that you might be putting out as a calendar here, all in one place as well. So that would be another way for teams that are doing lots of multi-touch campaigns and projects to have that all in one view. Speaking of having things all in one view, Analyze is one of my most favorite things. And so I put this together to kind of demonstrate how all of the data that you have seen me walk through so far in the folder structure here can be leveraged inside of Wrike to show you some really nice visuals. And so just to lay the groundwork, we are looking inside of our active, completed, and incoming events folder here on the left-hand side. We've done 15 events we planned 15 events this year. We've completed 8 of them. You can see what that ratio looks like and where those events are being held. You can see the types of events that we're doing and how they're being broken up. So it makes a lot of sense, right? That webinar is going to have a lot of webinars inside of it, but we did do an educational series webinar, so we can see that breakup there. On the right, we have the departments that are requesting that work from us. Reminder, these are all custom fields that I'm leveraging to get this information. Next up, we have of the events that we've completed this year, how many leads have we generated? And then we can see of the events that are coming up, like a little countdown bar chart, I like to call it, right? So we can see here the event data is being represented, any creative assets that we need to do to support the event, and of course, any reporting and social that we have to do as well. So here we can see that Leap Blast, all right, one of the events we just finished. We don't have to do the event, and we don't have reporting and social that we still need to do, but these events that are upcoming, we can kind of see what's still on the plate in the workload there. And then of course, the very last bottom part, any upcoming events that we've got going on here and the dates that those are happening, right? This is all done with just the data that is sitting inside of these folders here. And I'll just go back and remind everybody what we've got going on. Make that happen.
And while you're doing that, I wanted to give everybody a heads up that we will be doing a deep dive session on Wrike Analyze, on how to kind of put together some of these visuals and how to actually structure a analyze report. So there will be a session where we'll get into the analyze into a bit more depth. Thanks, Kim.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm going to hit share screen on my end, and of course, open it up to the floor for a minute here to ask people if you have any questions. Give it another minute or so. I appreciate that we're nearing time here. Open it up to the floor. Nothing's coming through. Then I'm going to click on the next slide at least, and let our customers know, let you know that there's a whole team of people that are around you. As always, there is our customer success team that are there to make sure that you see value out of Wrike every single day. We've got our support team who are there to support you, obviously, to make sure that Wrike is working well for you. If you've got any questions around, hey, this isn't working for me, or I can't log in, or for whatever reason, I can't upload a file, whatever that might be, they're there to help you. We've got our help pages and community forums. Our help page has got an article on practically every single bit of functionality, and I will share with you links to the various help pages from this session today. And of course, the community forum is a great spot to share your best practices, tips, suggestions, and with other people, with other customers. It's a busy hub with people giving their feedback and sharing their suggestions, and some incredible Wrike Analyze formulas as well, which I discovered the other day. Wrike Discover, of course, is a spot that you hopefully know about because it's how you got here, I should assume. It's where, of course, you'll get access to all of our other sessions on how to learning how to use Wrike. And of course, our account managers are typically there from a billing and logistics standpoint and doing all that sort of fun stuff. But as well as that, they can help you get in touch with our professional services team. And so if you've liked the work that Kim's done here today and appreciate the work that she's put done with us, and I certainly had, because I thought that was an absolutely smashing session. So thank you, Kim. Our professional services team are there to make sure that you see value out of Wrike as quickly as possible, right? They are experts in their fields. They know they understand your scenarios and best practices in specific industries. They are experts in their field, like I said, and they're there to streamline workflows for efficiency, improve collaboration, get a better implementation of Wrike. They're experts in change management because there is a huge hurdle that comes with getting people to change their behaviors, of course. And as part of that, there is the notion of tailored training and onboarding sessions. And as part of all of that, just seeing rapid results and getting ROI on your ROI on your investment, better return on your investment, or sooner return on your investment anyway. Kim, is there anything else there? Have I missed anything?
We're really friendly and we are flexible as well. So depending on your needs, we can meet you where you're at and get you going.
Appreciate that. And on that note, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody.